Welcome to episode 45 of Two Docs Talk. I'm Rob, joined by my co-host Abbas. We're getting closer and closer to episode 50. Very excited to be nearing that milestone. Today we have Dr. Ebru. She's a Ph.D. immunologist who has dedicated her career to skincare. During her Ph.D., she was doing research on the skin and had some skin challenges herself. She tried the products available on the market and they didn't work, actually made the condition worse. So she decided to figure out what was going on and ended up forming a company called AveSeena Skincare. We talk about the importance of diet and hydration on the skin, how the skin is much more than just a barrier. It's a full ecosystem with its own unique microbiome, and how important the immune system is in terms of skin health. We talk about some advice Dr. Ebru has for women and girls in science, and she shares her opinions about the currently available skincare products from the major manufacturers and why she has concerns about many of those products. As always, if you like our videos, hit the subscribe and like button below. And without further ado, on to the show. We're here with Dr. Ebru. Welcome, Dr. Ebru. We're so excited to have you on the show and hear about all your expert opinions on skincare.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Hoyer. It's amazing to be here.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this field?
Sure. I'm an immunologist and I'm specialized in molecular medicine and also the impact of estrogen and sex hormones on the immune system and inflammation. And, during my PhD, we also worked on why women get more autoimmune diseases, why are they more inclined to inflammation and autoimmunity. And during that time, and thanks to all the stress I had to experience during PhD, my skin broke out, and that wasn't fun. So everything else clicked at that moment because this is around 2000s. Not a lot of people talked about how stress and inflammation affected the skin and how it mirrored out. So I had to go into that and figure out, and that's how we come up with our brand.
That's when I was reading, it seemed like you follow the 4 pillars of the skincare. Can you tell us a little bit more of that?
The 4 pillars actually is based on all the skin barriers. So in the industry right now, when people say skin barrier, they only say barrier, the single, but it's not only one barrier. We have 4 of them. We have the moisture layer, we have the fatty acid layer, we have also the microbiome layer, and the 4th one is your skin immunity. So that is the king. To me, the most important of them are the skin microbiome and the skin immunity. They talk to each other, they work together. When let's say a bacteria comes in, the good bacteria on the microbiome says, you can't pass. It creates a wall there. But if it can, then if it can get through a crack, then the skin microbiome starts talking to the skin immune system and say, hey, I'm in trouble. Can you give me a hand? So that is the 4 pillars. And if one of them is weak, the other one starts getting shaky. They will try to keep up the foundation strong as possible. But as you know, think of a table, it has 3 legs. How long can it stay stable?
And I know when we had our intro call, it's been about over a month ago. Time goes fast in the summertime. You shared some pretty strong opinions about the skin and how we've been kind of led down a certain path by, all our major, household name brands. And I don't know if there's one that's better than others or not. This seems to be a foundational element of your company, but maybe we could just talk a little bit about what are we doing wrong, and then we'll talk about what we should be doing later on.
Let's focus on the company aspect first. The main big companies. So remember the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, there was always, if you look at the ads, there was one hero ingredient saying, oh, this is for your wrinkles. This is for your puffy eyes. And when you look at the ingredient listing, it's at the very, very end, like 0 point, maybe less than 0.5%. So it makes you question, how does one hero ingredient is going to solve all my problems? But the trick is, when you have a cream, it's going to moisturize, it's going to stop the transepidermal water loss. However, one hero ingredient is not going to solve your wrinkle problems. But on a big company profit basis, when you look at it, it's better for them to sell 5 different products for 5 different problems on the skin, where you can actually formulate a one product that can solve 5 different problems, right? So also cosmetic chemistry. I love cosmetic chemistry, don't get me wrong. But now we have so much science and so much data on how the skin is regulated by the immune system. There's a neurological aspect of it. There is, and then the neurological aspect, the sense, the texture, how you feel, everything. And still, the bigger companies are not incorporating the science into the formulations because they already have a formula, and it's easier to put that out there with new packaging instead of investing inside in the formula. So that is why we come up with AveSeena. That's the foundation to bring the science to the people, because I was tired of investing money to pseudoscience and greenwashing. I was too tired of that. So in my opinion, today, what are we doing wrong with the skincare personally is this. We're following TikTok trends. Please don't follow TikTok trends. That's bad. That's bad. Because with the TikTok trends right now, like a couple months ago, it was over exfoliation with acidic toners. And apparently now it's overlaying as much as possible products on your skin. So in the morning, you wake up with baby bump skin. Both of them are extremes. When you go to the extreme, you guys know better than I do, skin responds and reacts and inflammates. So that is completely wrong. Another thing in the skincare world, personal skincare world, is using wrong actives at the same time. For example, you can't use retinol when you're using acidic toners. So that is not helpful because, for example, this concurrent use of retinoids with alpha hydroxy acids, this often leads to compromised barrier integrity. And you can actually measure the increases in inflammatory cytokines like interleukin 1 alpha, IL-8, IL-6, that kind of thing. And of course, down the road, this hurts our microbiome, as we talked about. And there's certain studies right now that are coming up that shows the skin's microbial ecosystem, the microbiome, it plays crucial role in cutaneous homeostasis, which is the balance of your skin. So if you use a lot of antimicrobial agents that could disturb these good organisms, it would damage the microbiome and cause pathogenic colonization, which you're going to have problems at the end. And the last one is ignoring the lipid matrix, which is our sebum. So when you overwash, overcleanse, overexfoliate, and then on top of it, what's your skin is going to do? It's going to try to compensate what is missing, like fatty acids, and the lipid matrix, which is compromised of ceramides, cholesterol, free fatty acids. This is critical for the next barrier function. So most of the commercial moisturizers fail to replicate this ratio of ceramides, cholesterol, and free fatty acids, and that leads to incomplete barrier restoration. So you need to be careful when you're picking up your skincare, like for example, your cream, you need to look at it. Read ingredients, that is.
Fantastic. What is a good morning routine for skincare and night routine? So to maintain a good skin and good health.
When you think about it, your skin is around 15% of your body weight. It's a big organ, right?
The biggest organ.
So the morning regimen, we always focus on the face, but I would recommend it same on the body. because we're all usually covered with clothes, it's not as impacted by the exterior elements. However, for the morning regimen, for the face, I would definitely recommend a very gentle pH balanced cleansing to preserve the acid mantle on the skin, and a cream or a serum with antioxidants. I love vitamin C, E, niacinamide. I love it, especially during peak oxidative stress hours, which is 8 to 10. So you start with the day. If it's winter, definitely have your cream, moisturize it. And as you said, UV protection because you're going out. So you need a minimum SPF of 30 to protect against the UV light. The evening regime, after all day, you come home, you need to remove all the dirt from your face, thorough but gentle cleansing again to remove the environmental pollutions and particulate matter because it's going to get stuck on your face all day. Um, I like to apply creams or serums with active ingredients around 9 to 11 p.m. Just before I go to bed because that kind of correlates with the peak DNA repair enzyme activity, and increased cutaneous blood flow because you're going to go to sleep, you're going to go into the REM cycle, and then body has time to repair because it's going to say, okay, she's sleeping now. She's not going to bug me. I don't have any stress. I can fix this. And also at night, the barrier repair formulations with the physiological lipid ratios, the ceramide, the fatty acids, to prevent the transepidermal water loss. This actually increases by 25% during sleep, so you need to protect your face when you're sleeping. So this is the most basic version of skincare you can do as a routine.
When we were talking, I was just thinking about, how we've always counseling patients with about the sun and sun exposure and melanoma and non-melanoma skin cancer risk. Could you give a little description about what you recommend for folks in terms of their skin and the sun, if you live in a sunny climate or just if you're outside at the beach, and what should we do?
You're absolutely right. UV exposure, skin cancer, this is one of the most worrying things in the last 20, 30 years, with the changing environment. So the UV protection, let's start with the UV protection, right? So definitely a daily broad spectrum sunscreen, at least SPF 30. You definitely need the adequate UVA protection, and you need to apply at least 1 tablespoon of sunscreen to your face. It needs to cover it and you need to feel it. Like you can't just apply to your cheeks and not apply to your nose. Also, reapplication every 2 hours of sun exposure, especially after swimming and sweat setting if you're outside. And if you're very, very sensitive, and if you're going, for example, for a hiking and you're going to be under the sun all day, sun protective clothing with there's UV protective sun clothing, that would be great. On the skincare angle of things, definitely a cream or a serum with vitamin C, vitamin E to help with the photoprotection, and any polyphenols like green tea, resveratrol, any other peptides to help the repair definitely will help. Um, and I have to say skin surveillance because you can do everything under the sun and you may be still genetically, prone to skin cancer. So definitely monthly self-examination for melanoma to see if there is unrecognized growths happening. If you could go to a dermatologist, you can ask for a total body photography, dermoscopy, especially if you are considered as a high-risk person. I like annual professional skin examinations with the dermatology because you can't see your back or back of your legs, especially if you have a history of melanoma in your family. That makes you 10 times on the risk. And also if you have risks, mutations like CDK4 mutations, that also make you prone to skin cancer. So definitely, there's a lot of things you can do, and with the annual checkups.
What's the role of hydration and nutrition on the skin? I think this, the internal, intrinsic nutrition and hydration, and what we can do to keep our skin nice and healthy.
Hydration is for everything, right? So the if you have, and when we say hydration, we say water. It's not coffee, it's not tea, it's not Coke, it's not none of those. Water, good water. So good, adequate water intake maintains the dermal glycosaminoglycans hydration capacity. It makes you nice and firm. And the clinical studies have shown that the increasing water consumption around like by 21 day for 2 liters a day or a liter a day at least, because 2 liters sometimes it's too much, I know. It improves skin hydration by 7 to 14%. And then also hyaluronic acid synthesis is impaired if you have a chronically dehydrated skin. So when we talk about hyaluronic acid, people think that it comes from the cosmetics. No, we have also hyaluronic acid production in our skin, and it gets weaker as we get older. So you need a lot of water to help that. And if you have dehydrated skin and decreased hyaluronic acid synthesis, and if you don't have a product that has hyaluronic acid, you are reducing your dermal water capacity, binding capacity by 30 to 40%, which is not good. So there's that. And then let's talk about nutrients. Nutrients is what you put in your body affects everything, unfortunately. You eat ice cream, we're going to get huge, unfortunately. So there's the macronutrients and the micronutrients and macronutrients, sorry. So the macronutrients, we can talk about proteins. So if you don't get enough protein, it will impair collagen synthesis in your skin and wound healing. If you don't get enough fatty acids like omega-3, omega-6, it's going to decrease the ceramide production and the barrier function in your skin. Also, if you have hyperglycemia, it's going to induce collagen glycation, which is if you have too much fast food, it's going to increase glycation, and it's going to increase the advanced glycation end products, which we call age, and it increases by 30% even sometimes. The micronutrients is the vitamins, right? And the cofactors. So vitamin A regulates keratinocyte production, differentiation. Vitamin C helps for the hydroxylation in collagen synthesis. Vitamin E helps for the decreased peroxidation of the lipids. And zinc, for example, I love zinc. It functions as your cofactor for matrix metalloproteinases and DNA enzymes, repair enzymes. So you need all this. And then the bioactive compounds, which you can get from fruits, polyphenols from green teas, carotenoids from carrots, and lycopene and lutein, probiotics from yogurt, for example, or kefir. These all help also with the skin-gut axis, where the gut has nearly the 70% of your immune system, right? The cells. So all of this helps to support the skin and the body as a holistic component.
That's that I love your perspective on this, and that's really we always go toward the clinical stuff first, but I would love to talk a little bit about just the day you decided to jump into this, like big time. You said, okay, I'm going to form this company. Was it a certain day, or was it more of a gradual thing where you decided, okay, well, let's try this and maybe this will work? And I'd love to hear the founding story of AveSeena Cosmetics.
It was an addition of things. So when I was doing my PhD, you know how stress impacts your body, impacts the immune system, and I was always acne prone, always. I mean, great against, having a Th1 type kind of inclined immune system is great with viruses and flu, but it's not great with acne, to be honest. And during my PhD, I was overly stressed. I started having a cystic acne on my chin, and boy, does it hurt. And then I spent money and went and bought some skincare products. And when you're a student, every cent counts. And none of that worked. And even it made it worse. Um, so I got a little mad, like we have all this science and it's not integrated in there. And I'm just looking at the ingredients and it's all, you know, fillers. And I understand the reason for, thickeners and everything, but I couldn't see the actives that was going to help me. And it wasn't marketed that way. It was marketed as, oh, this is great for your acne prone skin. Nothing in there. Not even niacinamide, for God's sakes. I mean, there's studies on PubMed that shows it. So I started working on this, learning cosmetic chemistry, and started, trying to fix my skin. And then I went home. And when I was going home, my dad wanted a specific cream for his skin because a year ago he went through lung cancer treatment and, very heavy chemo and radiotherapy at Sloan Kettering. And then, of course, his doctor said you have to use a cream because your skin became really, really dry. So he was out. So I took it back home and he puts it on. He breaks out in hives. I mean, bad. It's red. And he was a transplant surgeon. And surgeons are hard. You know that. They're very difficult patients. So he's like, you wrote me the wrong thing. I'm like, no, I didn't bring you that. And I'm looking at the ingredients. This is exactly the same thing. But he broke out. So last hope, I gave him the cream I use for myself to calm my skin. I said, put this on. And he's like, okay. He puts it on. And like an hour later, he calls me and is like, what did you do? And I'm like, oh God, he's going to give me such a hard time. And he shows me his arm. The redness is gone. The itching is gone. And he's like, what did you do? Sit down. Tell me. So I started explaining why I did it, how I did it, what did I do? And he's asking me all these questions. Did you take care? Like it was it was a complete scientific discussion, And then at the end, he said, you're up to something good. Keep on doing this, kid. So that's how it started. That's how we came up with the name. And he said, bring the science to the people because they deserve something better. Put your knowledge in. You cannot keep this knowledge to yourself. That was his thing.
I'm just curious, was that an EGFR inhibitor rash? Is that what he had? And what did you give him?
I gave him like just a body lotion and he completely turned red and it was hives and I didn't look fast because he was mad at me. It was like, you brought me thing. Like, no, it's exactly the same thing. And when you're panicked, I mean, you're looking at this and all I can think of is which lot of ingredients did they use and which ingredients is fracked up in this.
And the better lotion, what was that?
Oh, that was not the cream we have right now. It's the grandfather of all the creams. So that one was for me. It had niacinamide, it had oat extract, it had, just clean, very simple ingredients. I made it for myself for my acne skin.
It was a custom product. It wasn't
It was
something.
a custom one because I
Ah,
was still learning cosmetic chemistry, how ingredients work with each other. So I was trying different ones based on the publications in PubMed. So that thing worked great for me because I never broke out. Every time I broke out, I put a dab, it would go away. I love niacinamide. So that's why I was like, you're red already. I mean, how much bad are you gonna get? And you're pissed at me. So use this. And I was lucky. It worked.
What are the effect of the toxins on the skin? What are the common things beside the pollution, the smoking, alcohol?
I mean, every vape, weed, any type of smoking. And there's new data that's coming up about those as well in PubMed. Not about skin for vape and weed, but definitely about pregnancy, about brain neurological pathways. And I think it's going to come about the skin soon. Um, Alcohol, everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. You can have a glass of wine, that's fine, but if you drink too much alcohol at the end of the day, it's not good for you, and you're going to get dehydrated significantly. You're going to lose your antioxidants significantly. That's not good. Fast food. I mean, we're all guilty at having some fast food at one point or another in our lifetimes. It's easy, it's satisfactory, it increases endorphins. But as I said, it leads to glycation. I mean, anything that's high in sugar, high in fat, leads to glycation and age, which is the age-induced glycation. And that causes inflammation, which is the inflammation plus aging, the micro low-level inflammation you experience. And the more fat tissue we have, the more inflammation we get. And on another side note, interestingly enough, fat tissue can also produce estrogen and sex hormones, and that we are having a high increase in polycystic ovarian syndrome, especially in very young ladies. And that is also reflected on the skin, like breakouts and cystic acne. So those affect everything, like those lifestyle choices. Bad sleep. Oh my God, bad sleep. I mean, it affects everything. But at the end of the day, all of these combine into stress, increased cortisol.
Thank you. That was super helpful and really highlights what we're trying to do with our show is to really raise awareness about all these issues because it's such a it's just you can use the best skincare product in the world, but if you're not sleeping, if you're eating poorly, you know, uh, you can it just is not going it's not going to work. I was just curious about some challenges you've encountered on this journey. I know there's been I'm sure there's lots of skin is probably a super controversial area. I think I'm not really in the fields per se, but I suspect there's a lot of controversy just with the array of products that are out there. What have you encountered in this adventure?
One of them is passing through the noise. So there's a lot of skincare brands out there today, which they can buy a formulation, a stock formulation and fill it up in a pretty packaging, but they have enough money to flood the environment, the PR scene with all the claims you want. How are you going to reach to the customer? That is one of the difficult parts. How are you going to convey the science? Because unfortunately, there's a lot of greenwashing and false science out there. Just reading one paper doesn't help. It doesn't mean that it's correct. You need at least five scientific papers that support that finding, because that one particular paper can be an outlier. And there's now papers out there that are not peer reviewed. They're just placed online and it doesn't mean that it's correct. You need peer reviewed publication, at least five of them. So that was, the evidence-based science in skincare. That was one of the challenges to see. You can look at niacinamide in a paper, but you need to also think that, like, take it from the immunology perspective of things and look at the dermatological data and combine them both. You need to see the trees and then see the forest. So that is the biggest thing that's missing in the skincare industry, cosmetic industry. Um, Sustainable sourcing, hard, very hard, to find the good companies that does it correctly. That was very hard to start with. And the big companies, the indie beauty brands cannot purchase big amounts, like 300 pounds. They can't. I mean, what are they gonna do? It's such a waste. So finding the companies to work with you, that was another challenge to convey that information, because at the end of the day, they're in for a profit. Um, and also explaining that I'm the first to talk about inflammation and inflammaging in the beauty industry. And I think I'm the only immunologist in the industry who's a founder and talking about this. That was hard, like trying to explain it, like, look, this is like skin microbiome is not the only thing. There's other things as well. And as you said, when you say, okay, skincare is great, if you have a good skincare, That's only one part of the play, but you have to do this, this, this. You have a mental aspect of things. You have the stress aspect of things. So you need to bring them all together so everything will work. I mean, I would love to put a cream on and it fixes my life. I wish if I could formulate that, I would in a heartbeat, but it doesn't work that way. I wish it would. There's a scientific truth to it. So I think that was another challenge. We're being too transparent and too honest about everything because nobody is rich enough to buy bad products. Nobody has the time to go through a zillion of products. So that's why those are the challenges.
Fascinating. Well, certainly we'll help do our best to help get the word out. And do you? I just had one other question. It's not directly related to this, but just about women in STEM careers. Do you have any thoughts or comments, advice for women who may be considering a science-based career and how to best do that, navigate this industry?
It's not easy. I'm gonna say it. It's not easy. You're gonna get a lot of no's, and a lot of explaining to you. Don't take them. Don't take the no. Don't listen to them. Walk the path. Put your goal. It could be far away, but put that goal in your sight and walk towards that goal. Don't take the no. Don't listen to anybody. I mean, listen to your PI, listen to your advisor, of course. But everybody's going to say, are you crazy? Why are you doing a PhD? Are you crazy? You're so pretty. Why are you going and getting married? Why are you in the medical school? Why are you doing it? Do not listen to anybody. This is your life. Do it. But also be ethical, be honest, be transparent, and focus on evidence-based practice and evidence-based science. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard some days. You're going to be so cranky. But if you're dealing with patients, and I saw this from my dad, actually. He was amazing with his patients. Amazing. And he was a transplant surgeon. My mom, too. Patients would come, and they're at the end of their rope, right? All they want is hope from you. And it's a very, very fast life. Sometimes we forget. They're human, we're human. At the end of the day, we need hope. So they used to ask my dad after transplantation, so am I going to get better? Am I going to be fine? And he would hold their hands on the bedside. I'm not kidding you. And I'm going to cry now. He would pet his hair, their hair, and say, you're going to get better. Do not stray from the path. You can do this. Every woman can do this. And women are very strong, very, very strong. I tell the same thing to my daughter because she says, I cannot do this. She's 4 years old, by the way. And I said, you can do this. And she does it. And she comes and says, yes, I can do it. We're not different from that 4-year-old, that monkey brain says you cannot do it. You can do a lot of stuff. Like when you look at my CV, you haven't seen my CV. My CV is 13 pages, the academic CV. And when people look at my CV, they say, did you do it all? And I say, yeah, I did it all because I had to. Nobody else was doing it. So yes. And here's the thing. Pay it forward. Pay it forward. Help another woman. Help another girl or a teenager. Help them because they're alone. We're alone, when it comes to mentorship. So that's all I'm going to say. I try to help everybody I can. So
it's inspirational.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love the name of AveSeena. Can you? I don't think we covered it. Can you tell a little bit how you come with that name and the history? Because I think that's for a lot of audience that they do not know AveSeena, but also the other meaning of it is beautiful. It's a beautiful name.
Actually, my dad came up with the name because he loved this physician, Ibn Sina, AveSeena. And then he wanted that name, but it wasn't possible because everything was taken when we looked it online. So we added another E in the Sina, and then the meaning became very interesting because Ave means in Latin salutations, But Seena, in the Rumi philosophy, it means wellness of the heart, from the soul. So it became salutations to wellness and all the wellness from the soul. So I don't know, maybe universe has a way of, coming up with things, and this just happened, and we kept it that way.
It's a beautiful name. And also hope people, they appreciate AveSeena himself as a
Thank you.
great physician as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Can you tell us how the audience can reach you and how we can find you online or through your company?
You can find us on our website. That's first, AveSeena, AveSeena.com. We're also on social media, AveSeena, and also YouTube and TikTok. Our candles are also in Equinox. If you're on the East Coast or the West Coast, you can visit those. We're getting into new spas. And yeah, and you can shoot an email to us from contact us page on our website. If you have any questions, we'll definitely love to answer you. So yeah, and you can find us here at this amazing podcast.
Thank you so
It was
much.
great to have you.
Thank you.
Women in STEM careers. Do you have any thoughts or comments, advice for women who may be considering a science-based career and how to best do that, navigate this industry?
It's not easy. I'm gonna say it. It's not easy. You're gonna get a lot of no's, and a lot of explaining to you. Don't take them. Don't take the no. Don't listen to them. Walk the path. Put your goal. It could be far away, but put that goal in your sight and walk towards that goal. Don't take the no. Don't listen to anybody. I mean, listen to your PI, listen to your advisor, of course. But everybody's going to say, are you crazy? Why are you doing a PhD? Are you crazy? You're so pretty. Why are you going and getting married? Why are you in the medical school? Why are you doing that? Do not listen to anybody. This is your life. Do it. But also be ethical, be honest, be transparent, and focus on evidence-based practice and evidence-based science. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard some days. You're going to be so cranky. But if you're dealing with patients, and I saw this from my dad, actually. He was amazing with his patients. Amazing. And he was a transplant surgeon. My mom, too. Patients would come, and they're at the end of their rope, right? All they want is hope from you. And it's a very, very fast life. Sometimes we forget. They're human, we're human. At the end of the day, we need hope. So they used to ask my dad after transplantation, so am I going to get better? Am I going to be fine? And he would hold their hands on the bedside. I'm not kidding you. And I'm going to cry now. He would pet his hair, their hair, and say, you're going to get better. Do not stray from the path. You can do this. Every woman can do this. And women are very strong, very, very strong. I tell the same thing to my daughter because she says, I cannot do this. She's 4 years old, by the way. And I said, you can do this. And she does it. And she comes and says, yes, I can do it. We're not different from that 4-year-old, that monkey brain says you cannot do it. You can do a lot of stuff. Like when you look at my CV, you haven't seen my CV. My CV is 13 pages, the academic CV. And when people look at my CV, they say, did you do it all? And I say, yeah, I did it all because I had to. Nobody else was doing it. So yes. And here's the thing. Pay it forward. Pay it forward. Help another woman. Help another girl or a teenager. Help them because they're alone. We're alone, when it comes to mentorship.